Hi everyone, I've got another Keep Talking project update. I've been busy over the last couple of months with quite a few things, but the main things to show you are right in front of us, the two things here. So on the right hand side, you'll probably recognize the button from the big red button. So I've kind of imported what logic I could from my prototype and coded this up again using the new architecture that I've got. One of the hardest parts was getting it to communicate with the timer because the button module in isolation won't have all the information it needs to do its thing. Um, but it turned out to be quite a quick job actually, which I was quite pleased with. And the second thing on the left hand side is what I'm calling the debugger, which is basically helping me to test all of the modules without needing to use the timer explicitly. When I was using the timer before, in order to test the keypad, for example, I'd have to transfer the phone app from the development suite onto my phone. Then I have to load it up, connect via Bluetooth to the timer, then set up the game. So after going through all of the kind of the manual setup, rigmarole, and then starting the game. And because I had all of the rules with the strikes and the time, that means that I couldn't really take my time to debug that, and I could only make 3 mistakes before having to go through that process again to start a new game to test out more things. So I made this little debugger, and essentially it's just a little ESP module that uses the CAN bus to send messages and receive them as well. So on the screen, if you'll have a look, at the moment we've got pull modules. There's a little rotary encoder here that can go through the options, click it in to select it, and it will send that message. And in the quote marks below, any CAN message received is displayed, so I can see exactly what's going on. But that'll let me very quickly show you how the button module works now. One of the other things that I've been doing in the background as well is transferring all of the other code for mostly the keypad module into very much an object-oriented way, rather than endless lines and lines of just programmatic code. So it's much more streamlined now, much easier to use, and it's got some really good features in there for setting off blinking lights without having to really do any management of that in the main body of code. And it also deals a lot with the module-specific logic as well, which has made it much easier to take what's left of the core script and then just pop in different classes for the button instead of the keypad, for example. So I've been doing a lot of code rewrites behind the scenes. Obviously can't really show that, and I wouldn't want to, it's really boring. But you can see the fruits of my labours here, hopefully. So to run through an example, I've just turned everything on. Let's have a look at the screen. We've got pull module, so that's the first thing that has to happen. That'll prime the button to know that something's out there waiting for it. So if I click that in, you'll see we get a P up on the screen. So it's accepted that message and sent back a reply. So we'll tell it to initialize the game now. So the button's going to be told, come up with what the button color is, what the button label is. And the interesting thing is that that means the button module doesn't know what the correct answer is. If it's a short push, if it's a long hold, and then what the strip color is, what release is on. It doesn't know anything of that just yet. All it's done is generated a button color and a button label. So what it needs to be able to know what the correct answer is whether there is a car indicator on, an FRK indicator on, how many batteries there are, for example. They all factor into the decision making that needs to be done with this module. So at this moment, it needs more information before it can do that. But what we're going to do is kind of go through the typical flow of information. So after it's initialized the game, then on the phone app we'll request that manual setup so we can add the right colored button and the right label onto that button. So if I click that, we've again got the blinking light to draw attention to which module to pop this button onto. And we've got the reply, so C11, it's the I don't know what colour that is off the top of my head, but it'll be something like yellow, hold, whatever that is. It relates to that position in the arrays for the colour and the labels. So we'll just scroll on and confirm that. That'll stop the light blinking. And then that module's almost ready for a game to start. Instead of hitting game start though, I'm going to scroll on to send edge work. So this just sends that edge work command with no batteries, no indicators on, or anything like that. Press that through. So now, when the button receives that edge work, which will happen before the game starts on the phone app, so it'll happen after you've done the kind of manual setup that we just did. Now it knows how many batteries there are and what indicators are lit. Then the button module can figure out what is the correct response, the short or the long button press. So now it is actually ready to start a game. And again, just to show you that, I can press the button as much as I want, nothing will happen. So we'll just scroll back along to game start, press this, and again there's no timer going or anything because it's just sending messages, it's not actually kind of emulating the game flow. So we can make as many mistakes as we want and take as long as we want to debug this. So I have no idea what the correct answer is. So what I'm going to do is press the button and then hold it, and we'll just kind of see what happens really. So I'll just do a quick short push. We've got the red light coming up, so that's sending a strike. See on the screen it's showing an X because the strike message has been sent through. So obviously what you need to do is a long hold. So we'll do that. And we've got this red light, so that was the strip LED. And hopefully you can tell, it's quite bright, but hopefully you can see that it is kind of pulsing a little bit. Not quite like how it happens in the game. I've got to tweak those numbers a little bit. But trying to emulate that kind of slight dimming and brightening of the LED. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what number a red needs to be on the timer to diffuse it. But what will happen when I release the button is it's going to request the digits from the timer from the debugger module on the left. That's going to automatically reply with 0500, so if red corresponds with a 5, then we're all good, otherwise it'll come up with a strike. And it always replies with that holding number, so if that's the case we'll never get a pass. But it does demonstrate that this works because I've done this a few times, so I know that if you should be releasing the button on a 5 it does work, and if you should be releasing it on a 1 it doesn't work. But there you go, we've got a strike for that as well because it must be the wrong number. But there we go. And one other thing is we can send different messages here. We can send game stop success or game stop failure, and if we do the failure then we get this red flash come up very quickly, which is the user's feedback that the bomb's exploded. So all of the kind of red lights would go off on the bomb if that message was sent through. But there we go really, so there's a couple of things to show, and what I'll do now I'm in a good place to expand and add more modules. So I'll try and add the simple wires and Simon Says Again, and then hopefully diversify and do some different things. There you go.